In a vast hall filled with eager faces, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and uncertainty. It was the day of the global conference, an event that would mark a significant moment in human history. Scientists, engineers, and leaders from every corner of the Earth had gathered in the United Nations Assembly Hall, a place where decisions were made and futures were shaped. Bright screens displayed images of a distant planet, known as exoplanet Zeta-4, which had caught the attention of the world. As the room quieted, the chairperson, a tall woman named Dr. Helena Turner, stepped up to the podium. Her glasses gleamed under the lights, and her voice was steady but filled with emotion. Today, we stand on the brink of a new era for humanity. We have an opportunity to explore the unknown, to seek knowledge beyond our world. Dr. Turner paused, letting her words sink in. The crowd held their breath, eager to hear more. However, she continued, the mission will be different from what many expect. We are announcing that we will send only one ship to exoplanet Zeta-4. Gasps filled the room. Whispers spread like wildfire as attendees exchanged surprised glances. Only one ship. A voice called out from the back. What about safety? What if something goes wrong? Dr. Turner raised her hand for silence. I understand your concerns. This decision was not made lightly. The single ship, named Endeavor, represents our commitment to unity and trust. We believe that by focusing our resources and efforts on one mission, we can achieve greater success. At the mention of the ship's name, murmurs of excitement mixed with doubt filled the hall. People wondered if one vessel could handle the risks of deep space travel. Would it be enough to ensure their safety and accomplish the mission? Among the audience, Captain Elena Ortiz, a seasoned pilot, listened intently. She had dedicated her life to space exploration and knew the risks all too well. Elena was a woman of action, with a reputation for bravery. She stood tall, her heart racing with anticipation and worry. I hope we can make it work, she thought, glancing at her fellow crew members who were also present. Dr. Raj Patel, a brilliant scientist with a passion for discovery, and Mia Lin, a young and talented engineer, sat nearby, each contemplating the announcement in their own way. After the initial shock settled, the discussions grew heated. Many questioned the decision. How can we trust only one ship to carry the hopes of humanity? Another voice protested. What if we encounter challenges we can't overcome? What if we lose contact? Dr. Turner listened to the concerns, nodding thoughtfully. I understand that fear drives these questions. However, we have confidence in our team. We have trained hard, and they are prepared for this mission. The crew will include the best scientists, engineers, and pilots. Elena felt a mix of pride and anxiety at the mention of her name. She would lead the mission, but the pressure weighed heavily on her shoulders. The stakes were high, and she could sense the anxiety rippling through the crowd. Mia, the youngest member of the crew, was filled with excitement and uncertainty. This is my chance to prove myself, she thought. But what if I fail? She had always dreamed of exploring the stars, but now the reality of the situation felt daunting. The crowd began to quiet as Dr. Turner resumed speaking. We believe that by sending only one ship, we will send a powerful message to the universe, a message of unity, a message of trust. We will show that humanity can come together to face the unknown. The room fell silent. Dr. Turner's words resonated deeply. The idea of sending one ship to represent all of humanity was inspiring. The mission would be a test of courage and collaboration, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. As the announcement concluded, the audience erupted into applause, though many remained uncertain. Captain Elena stepped forward, feeling the weight of responsibility. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of those who had shown support and concern. I promise, she said, her voice steady and strong, that we will do everything we can to ensure the success of this mission. We will not let fear hold us back. With her declaration, the atmosphere in the hall began to shift. Hope sparked in the hearts of those present. The announcement was not just about the mission, it was about the spirit of humanity. They were stepping into the unknown together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the conference came to an end, people began to leave the hall, but the conversation continued. Questions swirled around the room like leaves in the wind. Would they succeed? What awaited them in the depths of space? Only time would tell, but one thing was clear. Humanity was embarking on a journey that would change everything. The future awaited, and with it, a mystery that needed to be unraveled. In the days following the announcement, a sense of urgency filled the air. The world was buzzing with news about the mission to exoplanet Zeta 4. The Endeavour was set to launch in just a few months, and preparations were in full swing. Scientists worked tirelessly, engineers refined the ship's systems, and the crew trained diligently to face the unknown. Captain Elena Ortiz stood on the observation deck, looking out at the massive spacecraft nestled in the docking bay. The Endeavour was sleek and formidable, its silver hull shining under the bright lights of the facility. As the ship's captain, Elena felt a deep connection to the vessel. It was more than just metal and technology. It represented hope, courage, and the collective dreams of humanity. Elena turned to her crew, who were gathered around a large holographic display showing the ship's schematics. Dr. Raj Patel pointed out various features, explaining how each system would function during the journey. "This is the life support system," he said, gesturing to a detailed diagram. "It will recycle air and water, ensuring we can survive in space for a long time. We need to be prepared for any situation." Mlayalin, the young engineer, chimed in with enthusiasm. "I've been working on enhancing the energy efficiency of the ship. If we can optimize the power usage, we'll have more resources for the mission." Elena smiled at Mia's passion. "That's fantastic. Every bit of improvement counts. We have to ensure that the Endeavour is ready for anything." As the crew discussed their tasks, Elena felt a sense of camaraderie among them. They were a diverse group, each bringing unique skills to the table. Yet they all shared a common goal: to explore the unknown and make history. Days turned into weeks, and the countdown to launch continued. The crew worked long hours, training in simulated environments and studying data about exoplanet Zeta 4. The planet was intriguing, filled with possibilities, yet shrouded in mystery. What would they find there? Was it truly habitable? These questions lingered in Elena's mind. One evening, after a long day of training, Elena gathered the crew for a meeting. They sat in a small conference room, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the screens. "I know everyone is working hard," she began, "but I want to remind you that this mission isn't just about science. It's about humanity. We are all in this together." Dr. Patel nodded, his expression serious. "We must remember that each decision we make could impact not just our lives, but the future of all mankind. This mission is bigger than any one of us." Mia looked around the room, her heart pounding. What if we discover something incredible? Something that could change everything? Elena felt a wave of excitement at Mia's words. Exactly. We have the chance to be pioneers, but we must be prepared for challenges too. The unknown can be frightening, but it also holds great potential. As they discussed their plans, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary awaited them. The idea of being the first humans to set foot on a new world was exhilarating. Yet there was also a sense of responsibility that weighed on her. They were ambassadors of Earth, representing the hopes and dreams of billions. The day before the launch, the crew gathered for a final briefing. Tension filled the room as they reviewed their roles and responsibilities one last time. "Tomorrow is a big day," Elena said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "Let's remember why we are here. We are explorers, driven by curiosity and the desire to learn." As they left the meeting, Elena felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wandered through the launch facility, her mind racing. She looked out at the Endeavour, which stood ready for its mission. It seemed to beckon her, promising adventure and discovery. Later that night, the crew gathered for a farewell dinner. They shared stories, laughter, and hopes for the future. Mia, usually quiet, spoke about her dreams of what they might find on Zeta 4. "Imagine if we find signs of life, or ancient civilizations," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Elena smiled at Mia's excitement, feeling the same sense of wonder. "Whatever we find, we will face it together. We are a team, and we will support each other." As the evening wore on, they made a pact to look out for one another. They knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but their bond as a crew would help them overcome anything. Finally, the time came for bed. Elena lay awake, staring at the ceiling, filled with anticipation for the mission ahead. As she drifted off to sleep, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the cusp of something monumental. Tomorrow, they would embark on a journey that could change the fate of humanity forever. The next day, the sun rose with a brilliant glow, casting golden light over the launch facility. The crew gathered, their hearts racing with excitement and apprehension. As they approached the Endeavor, Elena took a deep breath, ready to step into the unknown. The journey was about to begin, and nothing could prepare them for the adventures that lay ahead in the great expanse of space. The morning of the launch arrived with a palpable sense of anticipation. Captain Elena Ortiz stood at the foot of the Endeavor, the gleaming spacecraft towering above her. The air crackled with energy as the crew gathered, each member focused on the task ahead. Elena felt a mix of pride and responsibility for the journey they were about to undertake. "All right, team," Elena called, her voice steady but enthusiastic. "Today, we make history. Let's remember our training and trust in one another. We're not just launching a ship. We're embarking on an adventure for all of humanity." As they boarded the ship, the familiar hum of machinery surrounded them. Elena led her crew to the control room, where they would monitor the launch sequence. Dr. Raj Patel took his place at the science station, while Mia Lin settled into her engineering console, ready to oversee the ship's systems. The countdown began. 10, 9, 8. The numbers echoed through the cabin, and the crew felt their hearts race in unison. Each member of the team exchanged glances, a mix of nerves and excitement visible on their faces. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. The Endeavor roared to life, shaking slightly as the engines ignited. The ground beneath them rumbled, and the ship lifted off with a powerful thrust. Elena felt the adrenaline rush through her veins, a wave of exhilaration as they broke free from Earth's atmosphere. The blue planet gradually shrank below them, a reminder of the home they were leaving behind. As they ascended into the black void of space, the crew worked together seamlessly. Dr. Patel monitored the systems, making adjustments as necessary, while Mia ensured the ship remained stable. Elena guided the Endeavor through the early stages of their journey, her heart swelling with pride at the skill and dedication of her team. "Altitude is stable," Maya reported, her fingers dancing across the controls. "We're on course for Zeta 4. "Good," Elena replied, glancing at the displays showing their trajectory. "Let's make sure we maintain our energy levels. We'll need every bit of power for the journey ahead." As they cruised through the silence of space, Elena took a moment to breathe in the wonder of their surroundings. Stars twinkled like diamonds against the backdrop of darkness, and the vastness of the universe filled her with awe. This was a place where possibilities were endless, and the unknown beckoned with an alluring charm. Days passed, and the crew settled into a routine. They took turns monitoring the ship, conducting experiments, and maintaining their physical and mental well-being. Each crew member found ways to contribute, sharing stories and ideas to pass the time. The camaraderie that had formed during their training only grew stronger as they navigated the emptiness of space together. One evening, as they gathered for dinner, Mia shared her latest findings from their research on Zeta 4. "I've been analyzing the data we collected on the planet's atmosphere," she began, her eyes bright with excitement. "It appears to have a stable environment. There are signs that it could support life." The room buzzed with energy at her words. "What kind of life?" Raj asked, leaning in closer. "I can't say for sure yet, but the data suggests that there are organic compounds present, Maya replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. If we can confirm it, we could be on the brink of discovering a new form of life. Elena felt a thrill at the thought. We'll need to prepare for what we might find. There's no telling how the ecosystem operates on Zeta 4. We have to be cautious. Over the following days, the crew continued to analyze the information coming from their sensors, eagerly anticipating their arrival at the planet. Each day brought them closer to the unknown, a mix of excitement and trepidation filling the air. Finally, the moment they had been waiting for arrived. The Endeavour began its approach to Zeta 4, and the crew gathered at the observation windows. The planet loomed large, its vibrant colors a striking contrast to the cold emptiness of space. Greens and blues swirled across its surface, hinting at lush landscapes and potential wonders waiting to be explored. Elena's heart raced as she gazed at the magnificent sight. "Prepare for landing," she instructed, her voice steady. "Mia, ensure all systems are green. Raj, keep monitoring atmospheric conditions." The crew sprang into action, working with precision and focus. As they entered Zeta 4's atmosphere, the ship shuddered slightly, the turbulence causing a few nervous glances. "We're coming in hot," Raj called out, adjusting the controls to stabilize their descent. "Stay calm," Elena reminded them. "We've trained for this. Trust the systems and trust each other." With careful maneuvering, the Endeavour touched down on a soft patch of ground, the engines powering down with a gentle thrum. The crew erupted into cheers, their voices echoing in the cabin. They had made it. After weeks in space, they were finally on the surface of an alien world. "Let's suit up and prepare for our first steps outside," Elena announced, her excitement palpable. The crew quickly donned their spacesuits, checking their equipment and ensuring everything was ready for exploration. As they gathered near the airlock, Elena felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. "Remember, this is just the beginning," she said. "We're here to learn, to discover, and to represent humanity. Let's make our mark." With a hiss, the airlock door opened, revealing the breathtaking landscape of Zeta 4. The crew stepped out, their boots making contact with the soft, earthy soil. Green plants and towering structures loomed around them, vibrant and alien. They stood in awe, taking in the beauty of their surroundings, ready to begin a new chapter in humanity's exploration of the universe. As the crew of the Endeavour took their first steps on Zeta 4, excitement surged through them. The air was fresh and filled with unfamiliar scents, earthy, sweet, and slightly tangy. Captain Elena Ortiz led the way, her heart racing with the thrill of discovery. "Stay close," she instructed, glancing back at her team. "We don't know what we might encounter out here." They moved cautiously, scanning the environment. Tall, luminescent plants swayed gently in a breeze that felt almost like a whisper. Raj Patel, the ship's scientist, began taking samples, carefully documenting everything they observed. "This is incredible," Raj exclaimed, holding up a vibrant blue leaf. "Look at the cellular structure. It's unlike anything we've seen on Earth." Mia Lin, the ship's engineer, bent down to examine the ground. "And the soil, it's rich and dark," she noted, her excitement bubbling over. "We could analyze this for weeks." Elena smiled, encouraged by her crew's enthusiasm. "Let's gather as much data as we can. But remember, we need to keep our eyes open for any signs of life." As they continued exploring, the team stumbled upon a small, shimmering pool of water, its surface reflecting the strange sky. The colors shifted in beautiful patterns, mesmerizing the crew. "Mia, can you analyze the water?" Elena asked, pointing to the pool. "On it," Maya said, pulling out her portable analysis kit. She knelt beside the water, inserting the device into the pool. The machine beeped and whirred as it worked, displaying data on a small screen. It appears to be clean," Maya said, glancing up with a smile. "No harmful chemicals or pollutants. We could even drink it." Elena nodded, pleased with the findings. This could support life. Let's move on and see what else we can find. As they ventured deeper into the landscape, the crew was suddenly halted by a rustling sound coming from a nearby thicket. Their hearts raced, and all eyes turned toward the noise. Elena signaled for silence, urging her team to remain still. "What do you think it is?" Raj whispered, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. "I don't know," Elena replied softly. "Stay alert." The rustling grew louder, and then, to their amazement, a creature emerged. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Tall and slender, with a shimmering skin that changed colors with the light. Its large, expressive eyes blinked curiously at the newcomers, and it made a soft, melodic sound. Elena's heart raced. This was the moment they had hoped for. The first contact with an alien being. She slowly raised her hands to show she meant no harm, her heart pounding in her chest. "Hello," she said gently, trying to keep her voice calm. "We come in peace." The creature tilted its head, seemingly processing her words. It stepped closer, its long limbs graceful and fluid. It extended a hand, which shimmered like the surface of the pool. "Mia, can you record this?" Elena whispered, excitement bubbling within her. Mia quickly activated her recording device, capturing the encounter for future analysis. The creature reached out to touch Elena's hand, its skin warm and smooth. She felt a rush of energy at the contact, as if a bond was being formed in that brief moment. Suddenly, the creature made a series of soft sounds, like a song echoing through the air. The crew exchanged glances, unsure of what to do next. Elena felt a surge of hope. Was this creature trying to communicate? "I think it's trying to talk to us," Raj said, his voice barely above a whisper. Elena nodded, her mind racing. "Let's see if we can respond." She took a deep breath and began to mimic the melodic sounds the creature had made, hoping to show that they were friendly and curious. The creature paused, its eyes wide with what seemed like surprise, then began to mimic her sounds back. The exchange continued, with the creature and Elena creating a melodic dialogue. The crew watched in awe, captivated by the connection forming before them. Suddenly, the creature moved back slightly, its expression changing. It pointed towards the horizon, where a massive structure stood, a shimmering city that sparkled in the distance. Elena felt a rush of excitement. "I think it wants us to follow," she said. "Let's see where it leads us." With the creature guiding them, the crew followed through the lush terrain. They passed colorful plants and strange formations, each step filled with wonder. The city grew closer, revealing buildings that seemed to float, connected by bridges of light. "What kind of technology is this?" Mia marveled, her eyes wide with astonishment. Elena couldn't contain her excitement. "We're witnessing something extraordinary. We must document everything." As they approached the city, the creature gestured for them to stop. It turned back to Elena, making a series of melodic sounds that felt like a song of invitation. With a sense of shared purpose, Elena nodded. "All right, team. Let's prepare to enter this new world." The crew stood together, a mix of nerves and excitement swirling within them. They were about to step into the heart of an alien civilization, a moment that would change everything they knew about life in the universe. Elena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Together, they would uncover the mysteries of Zeta 4 and the beings who called it home. The adventure was just beginning, and they were ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As the crew of the Endeavor entered the shimmering city of Zeta 4, they felt as if they had stepped into a dream. The architecture was unlike anything they had seen before. Buildings floated gracefully in the air, their surfaces glimmering with vibrant colors that shifted in response to the light. It was as if the entire city was alive, pulsating with energy. "Look at that!" Raj exclaimed, pointing to a structure that resembled a giant flower, its petals unfurling and closing rhythmically. "It's beautiful." Mia was already busy recording the breathtaking sight. "We need to document everything." This is going to change what we know about architecture and design. The creature, which the crew had affectionately named Lyra, led them through the bustling city streets. Other beings, similar to Lyra, but varying in size and color, moved about with grace, some pausing to observe the newcomers with curious expressions. Alina felt a wave of nervousness wash over her. Stay close, everyone. We don't know how they'll react to us. As they walked, Alina noticed that the sounds of the city were harmonious. Melodies floated through the air, blending with the soft hum of energy that seemed to resonate from the buildings. The inhabitants communicated with one another through songs and gestures, creating a rich tapestry of sound and movement. Lyra stopped at a large plaza where several beings were gathered. They were engaged in a lively exchange, their bodies moving in rhythmic patterns. It felt like a celebration. Alina took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Hello," she called out, raising her hands in peace. The crowd paused and turned to face the newcomers. The expressions on their faces were a mix of curiosity and caution. Lyra stepped beside Alina and began to sing softly, its voice blending with the others in the plaza. The tension eased, and the beings began to respond with gentle melodies, their voices rising and falling like waves. "Can you hear that?" Raj whispered, enchanted by the sounds. "They're welcoming us." Alina smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "Yes, it seems like they want to communicate. Let's show them we're friendly." Alina and her crew mimicked Lyra's song, doing their best to match the harmonious tones. The beings watched with wide eyes, their expressions shifting from curiosity to delight. Slowly, they began to join in, creating a beautiful exchange of sound. Maya laughed, her voice rising with the music. "This is amazing. We're communicating through music." As the melodies intertwined, the plaza transformed into a space of joy and unity. The beings began to dance, their movements fluid and graceful. Alina felt the rhythm pulling her in, and before she knew it, she was swaying to the beat alongside Lyra. The dance felt like a celebration of life, a moment of connection that transcended language. Alina glanced at her crew, and she saw their faces alight with wonder. They were no longer just explorers. They were part of something much larger. After what felt like hours of dancing and singing, the beings began to calm. The plaza fell quiet, and one of the larger aliens stepped forward, its skin a deep, shimmering green. It extended a hand towards Alina, a gesture of friendship. Alina felt a surge of excitement. "Do you think it wants to communicate?" she asked, glancing at Raj. "I think so," Raj replied, his voice filled with awe. "This is incredible. We might be able to learn about their culture." Alina reached out slowly, touching the being's hand. Instantly, a warm energy coursed through her, and images flooded her mind. She saw visions of their history, their struggles, and their triumphs. It was overwhelming but beautiful. "Are you okay?" Maya asked, her eyes wide with concern. Alina nodded, her heart racing. I can see their memories. They want us to understand them." The being's voice echoed in Alina's mind, a melody that resonated with her thoughts. It showed her images of their ancestors, their connection to the land, and the importance of harmony within their society. Through the bond they shared, Alina sensed the urgency in their message. They faced a threat, a dark force encroaching on their world. It was something the crew had not anticipated, and the weight of this knowledge hung heavy in the air. "I think they need our help," Alina said, her voice trembling with determination. "We can't turn our backs on them." Lyra chimed in, its melodic voice echoing the sentiment. The crowd began to murmur, their expressions shifting from fear to hope. They wanted to fight for their home, and with the crew of the Endeavor by their side, they felt a renewed sense of strength. Alina turned to her crew, her heart swelling with pride. "This is our chance to make a difference. We can help them defend their world." The team nodded in agreement, each member feeling the weight of their decision. They had come to explore, but now they were part of something much greater. Together, They would stand against the darkness threatening Zeta 4. With newfound resolve, Alina raised her voice to the crowd. "We will help you. Together, we will protect your home." A wave of cheers erupted, and the plaza was filled with joyous melodies once more. The beings of Zeta 4 rejoiced, and Alina felt a sense of unity and purpose that she had never experienced before. As the crew and their new allies began to discuss their plan, Alina looked around at the vibrant city and the beings who had welcomed them. They were not just explorers anymore. They were part of a legendary story, one that would change the fate of an entire world. As dawn broke over Zeta 4, the city shimmered under the rising sun, casting golden rays on the alien architecture. The crew of the Endeavor gathered in the central plaza, now a hub of activity and determination. The beings of Zeta 4 were preparing for battle, and the crew felt the weight of their responsibility. Alina stood at the front, her heart racing with excitement and fear. "We need to understand the enemy's tactics," she said, glancing at the alien leaders who had gathered. "What do we know about them?" A tall, green-skinned being, whom they had come to know as Arrow, stepped forward. "The darkness comes from the void beyond our stars. It devours everything in its path, planets, beings, and hope." Arrow's voice resonated with authority, and the crew felt the gravity of his words. "Is it a physical force?" Raj asked, his brow furrowed with concern. "Or is it more like a plague?" "It is both," Arrow replied, his eyes narrowing. "It can corrupt minds and destroy bodies. It has taken our homes before, and we cannot allow it to happen again." Mia exchanged glances with her crew, a sense of urgency igniting their spirits. "We need to devise a strategy that utilizes both our technology and your unique abilities." As the crew brainstormed, the beings of Zeta 4 demonstrated their skills. They harnessed the energy of the city, using it to create shields that could protect against the dark force. Alina watched in awe as their hands glowed and intricate designs formed in the air, weaving a tapestry of light. "Look at that!" Mia exclaimed. "Their energy manipulation is incredible. If we can combine that with our technology, we might stand a chance." The crew spent the morning strategizing and training. Arrow and the other leaders taught them how to harness the city's energy, while the crew shared their knowledge of tactics and technology. Slowly, they began to form a united front, each member feeling more confident in their abilities. As the day wore on, the sky darkened ominously. An eerie stillness filled the air, and the beings of Zeta 4 grew tense. "It's here," Lyra whispered, its voice shaking. Alina felt a chill run down her spine. "Everyone, get into position," she shouted, her heart pounding. The crew and their allies formed a defensive line, ready to face the oncoming threat. Suddenly, shadows swirled in the distance, a mass of darkness creeping toward the city. The ground trembled, and Alina could feel the fear radiating from her allies. "Stay strong. We can do this together," she called out, her voice steady despite her rising panic. The dark force descended upon Zeta 4 with a deafening roar, consuming everything in its path. As it reached the outskirts of the city, the protective shields activated, shimmering brightly against the encroaching void. The darkness lashed against the shields, sending ripples of energy through the air. Alina gripped her weapon, her heart racing as she prepared to fight. "Hold the line," she yelled, watching as the shields flickered under the strain. A surge of energy coursed through the beings, and they began to sing in harmony, their voices rising above the chaos. The melodies intertwined with the shields, strengthening their defenses against the darkness. The crew felt the power of their united spirits, and they joined in, adding their own voices to the mix. With each note, the shields glowed brighter, pushing back against the darkness. Alina could see shapes moving within the void, twisted figures that reached out with shadowy tendrils. "Aim for the center," she shouted, pointing at the mass. "That's where the energy is coming from." The crew and their allies launched a coordinated attack. Raj fired the Endeavor's plasma beams, while Mia activated the ship's energy projectors. creating bursts of light that collided with the shadows. The aliens amplified their songs, channeling the city's energy into powerful blasts that shattered the darkness. Elena felt a surge of adrenaline as she fought alongside her newfound friends. They were a force to be reckoned with, each member contributing their unique abilities to the battle. The city of Zeta-4 resonated with their efforts, the very ground beneath them vibrating with energy. Suddenly, a massive shadow broke through the shields, a monstrous creature born from the darkness. Its eyes glowed with a sinister light, and it unleashed a terrifying roar that shook the city to its core. Elena's heart sank, but she refused to back down. "Stay together," she commanded, raising her weapon. "We can take it down." The crew rallied, focusing their attacks on the beast. Aero led the charge, weaving through the darkness with grace, unleashing powerful energy blasts that illuminated the battlefield. The creature recoiled but quickly retaliated, striking with its tendrils. Elena dodged just in time, her instincts guiding her. "Keep fighting," she yelled, her voice filled with determination. "We won't let it win." As the battle raged on, the crew's efforts began to pay off. The combined strength of their voices and technology weakened the creature, causing it to stumble. The beings of Zeta-4 rallied, their melodies growing stronger as they poured their energy into the fight. With one final surge, they launched a coordinated attack on the beast. The air exploded with light as energy beams and song collided with the creature, overwhelming it. The darkness writhed and howled, and with a final deafening roar, the beast shattered into a cloud of shadows, dissipating into the air. Elena fell to her knees, breathing heavily, her heart racing. "We did it," she whispered in disbelief. Cheers erupted around her, the beings of Zeta-4 rejoicing in their victory. Lyra rushed to Elena's side, its eyes shimmering with joy. "You fought with us. You are truly legendary." The crew exchanged proud glances, their hearts swelling with a sense of accomplishment. They had come to Zeta-4 as explorers, but now they were heroes. Together, they had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, forging a bond that would last through the stars. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Elena looked at her allies and knew that their journey was far from over. They had defeated one battle, but the war was still raging in the universe, and as long as they stood together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The victory over the darkness had transformed the city of Zeta-4. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the skies were clearer than they had ever been. The crew of the Endeavor had not only survived a fierce battle, but had also forged an unbreakable bond with the beings of Zeta-4. As the sun rose on a new day, Elena and her crew gathered in the central plaza, where they had fought side by side just days before. Now the area was alive with celebration. The Zeta-4 beings, with their vibrant colors and melodic voices, were honoring the heroes of their world. Elena felt a mix of pride and humility as she stood among her friends. "We did it together," she said, glancing at Raj, Mia, and the others. "This victory belongs to everyone here." Aero, the tall green-skinned leader, stepped forward, his expression filled with gratitude. "You have not only saved our city but have shown us the power of unity. Together, we are strong." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices harmonizing in a beautiful song of thanks. Elena closed her eyes, letting the melodies wash over her. This was a moment she would never forget. After the celebrations, Aero led the crew to a grand hall made of shimmering crystal, a place where important decisions were made. The walls glowed softly, reflecting the energy of their surroundings. Inside, they gathered around a large table, ready to discuss the future. "We need to prepare for what lies ahead," Aero said, his tone serious. "The darkness may return, and we must be ready." Mia nodded, her brows furrowing in concentration. "We have learned so much about each other. We should combine our technologies and skills to create something new. A defense system, maybe." Raj chimed in. "What if we designed ships that could travel faster than light using both our technology and yours? We could create a fleet that can respond quickly to any threats. Alina felt excitement bubbling inside her. And we can train more beings from Zeta-4 to fight. We'll need everyone ready to protect their home. The discussions continued, filled with ideas and hopes for a brighter future. As the hours passed, plans began to take shape, and Alina felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just protecting Zeta-4, they were building a partnership that could withstand any challenge. As the meeting concluded, Arrow looked at the crew with a proud smile. You have proven yourselves as true allies. Our fates are now intertwined. Alina felt a warmth spread in her chest. This was the beginning of something greater than she had ever imagined. Together, they would explore the stars, defend against darkness, and learn from one another. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the crew stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The streets glowed with lights, and laughter filled the air. Look at this place, Raj said, grinning. It feels alive. Mia leaned against the railing, her eyes sparkling. And we're part of it now. We have a new home, a new family. Alina smiled, her heart swelling with joy. I never expected to find this in the depths of space. It's more than I ever dreamed. As the stars began to twinkle in the sky, Arrow joined them, looking thoughtful. What will you do now? Will you return to your world? Alina looked at her friends, and without hesitation, she replied, No. We want to stay and help. We'll fight together, learn together, and make sure no one has to face the darkness alone. Arrow nodded, his expression filled with admiration. Then let us prepare for a journey that will echo through the ages. Together, we will build a legacy. Days turned into weeks as the crew and the beings of Zeta-4 worked side by side. They developed new technologies, created training programs, and built ships that could withstand any threat. They learned from one another, combining their unique skills to forge a formidable alliance. One night, as they celebrated the completion of their first ship, Alina stood on the deck, watching her friends dance and laugh. The atmosphere was filled with joy and hope. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the air, breaking the laughter. The ground shook, and panic swept through the crowd. What is happening? Mia shouted, her eyes wide with fear. Arrow quickly calmed everyone. It is not the darkness, he assured them. It is something else. As they rushed outside, the crew looked up to see a colossal ship descending from the stars. Its hull gleamed with silver light, and strange symbols covered its surface. The crowd gasped in awe, and Alina felt a shiver run down her spine. Who could it be? Raj asked, squinting at the enormous vessel. The ship landed gracefully, and a hatch opened with a hiss. A figure emerged, tall and imposing, cloaked in dark armor. The crowd fell silent, watching in anticipation. Alina stepped forward, her heart racing. Who are you? She called out, her voice steady despite her fear. The figure removed their helmet, revealing sharp features and piercing eyes. I am Commander Vectra of the Galactic Alliance, they said, their voice strong and authoritative. We come seeking the legendary heroes of Zeta-4. Alina's heart skipped a beat. What do you want? The darkness is growing stronger, and we need your help, Vectra replied, their expression serious. Together, we can stand against it and protect the galaxy. Alina exchanged glances with her crew and the beings of Zeta-4. They had faced darkness before, and now, it seemed, the universe was calling upon them once more. With determination in her heart, Alina stepped forward, a fire igniting within her. Then let's begin. We are ready to fight for what is right. As the stars twinkled above, a new chapter began, one filled with hope, courage, and the promise of adventures yet to come. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united as one, a legendary force in the vast universe.